Hi, welcome to Local Flavor. My name is Oystein Solberg, and we're here with Chef Michael Combs.
Hey, thanks for having me.
Now, of course, thank you for being here.
Yep.
Thank you for bringing your best friend. Maybe not your best friend, but was your best friend.
Yeah.
Crossed your path.
I don't do this to my best friends, I promise.
Yeah. So, why is there a little piglet laying on our table?
Well, since this is it's a nice day outside, and we're doing some grilling out here, and so I thought we should do a little bit of we should do a whole pig.
Awesome.
This is a suckling pig. So this guy is only, or girl, this is only 20 pound. This is a 20-pound piglet, and these will cook a lot faster.
Yeah.
They definitely have a lot less meat on them though than a larger pig, and they're probably just easier to maybe cook to do at home than a 200-pound pig or 150, 60-pound pig.
And there's a lot less time commitment too. It's just easier to deal with. And
It is. Fun stuff. And we got a pretty cool contraption that we're gonna cook this guy in, and I think you'll be surprised at how he comes out.
I love contraptions. Awesome. Okay, so we got a little pig. So what are we going to do with this little guy?
Well, first thing we'll do is we'll just kind of just look him over, make sure he's healthy. I mean, make sure that he was healthy, and he was. He's only, he was.
Yeah, he's great looking.
Yeah, he was slaughtered about a day ago, and so usually with these size, it's always good, in my opinion, to let them hang for a day.
Yeah.
Just to kind of age. So they say the smaller the animals are, the less time they need to age. Like maybe a bird or a rabbit's like a day. That sort of thing. And this guy's only 20 pounds for maybe a day. So like cattle and whatnot, beef would maybe be 21 days or maybe even just a week.
Because it's just less worked muscle as well, so it doesn't need the same attention to tenderizing.
Exactly.
Stuff like that.
Yep, and it just needs time. So like there's like lactic acid buildup and things like that, and it basically the acid builds up and then it drops again, so it becomes more neutral.
Yeah.
And probably just kind of mellows out the meat and the flavor.
Yeah.
Yep.
Awesome.
So I think he looks pretty healthy here.
Oh, it looks great.
They skinned it for us, which is pretty cool. So this will allow for a nice crispy skin. Sometimes you'll get pigs or
they just singed all the hair off and basically gave it like a clean shave.
Exactly, and it's
awesome.
He's ready to go for sure.
Yeah.
There's no. I mean, if you want, sometimes there's a little bit of hair here, and you can also just use a torch, that sort of thing, and
just torch it
right off. You can take it off. But really, if you're going to roast them hot over a spit or something like that, it'll usually take care of it for you.
Yeah. No, it's a pretty looking pig.
Yep, but it was a pretty healthy pig. So we'll see here. This is basically where they eviscerated it here. So all the organs have been removed. We also look in the inside and make sure that there's no organs in there, because sometimes they'll pack them in there and then you cook them up, and next thing you know, you'll find out there's some organs in there.
Yeah, that would be a little surprise.
Yeah, we're going to open them up anyway. So we're going to basically prep this suckling pig to be roasted like a spatchcock method.
Yeah.
So we're going to open them right up.
Yeah.
So
it's basically going to butterfly them, so it's just like
exactly
all spread out. Awesome.
Yeah, and then so when we cook them, it'll be nice and even. That's basically that's what's easier about these smaller ones, is that it's a lot easier to be able to cook evenly. When you get the real large ones, they have huge hams on them and all that stuff, and so it's a little more difficult to cook for the first time. Pig roaster.
Awesome.
All right, so. Usually there's a hip bone right here. It's called an H bone. It's up to you how you want to use it, but just a cleaver and a saw is good. Yeah. I usually just get right through the hip bone, so that way it'll pop them open. Perfect. And then we'll get this up, so we'll work from this way to this way.
Awesome.
So if there's any meat, always use a knife to cut with the meat. Cut the meat first. Never cut the meat with a saw, and then vice versa.
Because they're just going to pull it.
See, and that's so simple. It's very, very simple right there. It's not much to it at all.
Because it's just a very, very small pig too, so like the bone structure is just a lot less and stuff like that.
Exactly. Look, it took like just too little. We probably could have just popped it with the end of a knife, really the tip of a knife.
Yeah.
And so this guy here, we're just going to go through the breastbone. So we'll just cook them. As you know, cleavers don't normally have a lot of not very sharp. Basically, they're pretty blunt. They're made for breaking bones.
Yeah.
And that sort of thing. Not really for slicing. And when you see them on TV, like some of the Asian chefs use them. That's mainly used for, those are like different types of cleavers that are used for cutting vegetables. That sort of thing. So we're just going right through the breastbone. Most of it is cartilage because this is a younger pig.
Yeah.
And so we don't really need to get too crazy with them here. So.
Awesome.
Yep. So right there. So we got them split open. The other thing we'll definitely just take care of here is we'll. We have some glands that we'll take out of here, but the other thing is we have a spine. So as you can see, we can't get them open until we crack some of these. So what we have to do is we're gonna hit them right down the spine here
because the ribs are basically stopping it.
Yep. Yeah. And so we're gonna hit them right down here, and that will allow us to. Oh, thank you, sir. Mm-hmm. The only thing you want to be careful of, sometimes I use a little bit of a hammer on there, depending, but these guys are pretty small too.
Yeah.
And because if you do it like a chopping motion, one thing you will get is sometimes some splinters.
Yeah. But like you can pick through and clean those out after, so that's no big deal.
And he's pretty much almost done here.
Yeah.
What do you think?
Oh, looking delicious. That looks awesome. So yeah, so just kind of clean through kind of the side of the spine, and then it'll just lay flat open like that.
Yep.
Awesome.
You may see some glands, things like that. I usually remove them. Like here's a couple here.
Yeah.
But other than that, I mean, you'll roast this guy, and the reason why you bought one like this, a nice smaller, younger one, is that he just doesn't. I mean, it's been milk fed pretty much the whole time.
Yeah.
And so these guys are. Should be nice and delicious. And
yeah, it looks awesome.
Yep.
All right, so we got our little puppy split. So we're gonna take a quick little break. We'll be back here in a little bit, and then you can show us like how do you get it seasoned up and dressed up and all that fun stuff. So you guys stay tuned, and we'll be back here in a little second.
See ya.
Alright, then we're back here again underneath our wonderful little roof and hanging out with our little butterfly little pig.
Yep.
Alright, so we got it butterflied. Then what do we got to do next to this little guy?
So I pretty much just clean up some of his glands. Like I just take some of them that are there. So like you'll see glands like this, and really they just don't taste well. So you'll see some glands like this. There's always a couple here.
But like, there's nothing dangerous about them. They're just not very good tasting.
Yep. And then, just like lamb, a lamb has, especially in the leg, there's about 2 larger glands in there, and they just secrete oils and things like that. And so we just get rid of those. So
yeah.
So they're not so strong tasting.
Yeah.
And then I just trim up around here too. But there's not much you have to trim up around.
But you just kind of want to make sure that there's no livers and stuff kind of stuck on the spine and stuff like that. Just like kind of little knickknacks.
Yep. And so we pretty much just clean him up, and actually he looks like he's pretty much good to go.
Awesome.
And if I see any bone fragments, small ones that I can just cut out, I'll cut those out too. But I don't see anything there. But other than that, he looks pretty good.
Awesome sauce. Mm-hmm. Okay, so we got some little seasonings and some marinades and some different kind of fun stuff. So we're going to rub it down with, because it needs salt to kind of help get the skin get crispy and stuff like that. So we made this little seasoning salt. This is just kosher salt, and it's cumin, coriander, and there's a little bit of cayenne in there. It's just kind of like nice tasty stuff. Basically that we're going to just rub it into the inside of the cavity of the pig.
Yep.
Then we're going to massage the skin with it as well. That's just going to help the skin kind of loosen from the meat a little bit to kind of get like a little pocket of air between the meat and the skin to help the skin get super nice and crispy. Same way they do with like Peking duck and stuff like that, where they kind of blow it up. Same, kind of doing the same thing here, but you're just kind of massaging it.
Yep, and this is like an all-natural pig, so it hasn't been pumped. It doesn't have salt or anything like that.
Yep.
So we put a little sodium in there to hold moisture too, so it's nice and tasty.
It's magical.
Inside and out.
It's magical. So we're just going to do a little sprinkle dinkle on the inside. It wouldn't be a show without a sprinkle dinkle.
So we
got a sprinkle dinkle. So you can season fairly well. Like we're going to do.
You're going to be very liberal.
Yeah.
And so not a lot of strong flavors because we want to still be able to taste the pork. Right?
Yeah,
you don't really want to like cover it up or anything.
Yeah, no, it's just to kind of accentuate the flavors that are already there and just make it be just super nice and porky. And just want to rub it into the meat. Just get into like all the little secret little spots.
Nooks and crannies.
Yeah. But it's just like the more you get it rubbed in, like the more it's just gonna get into the meat and just kind of season it all up.
Already?
Get it all sorts of delicious. Hi, Piggy.
There you go, looking good.
Yeah, it's gonna be delicious. So we also got a little marinade. This is basically pineapple juice. There's a bit of shallot, garlic. There's orange juice, orange zest, lemon zest, lemon juice.
So
lime zest.
Lots of citrus.
Lots of citrus. So basically, we're going to use this this dentist needle,
and
we're going to pump it into the hams.
Yep, so you'll see there's a bunch of little holes here coming off of all the sides here. And so really what we want to do, as we put it in, and then as we pull it out, at the same time while we're pulling it out, we push into it so it gets like a nice long trail.
Yeah.
So you don't want to put it in there and just like pump it in there like you're giving it a shot. That's not the way it works.
Yeah.
And so we want to put in like really nice big parts of the ham here, and so we'll kind of, whoa, just like that. That's okay. That's going to happen. And then we'll do the same thing here. Yep.
Delicious.
And then
so this marinade got a little bit of salt in it as well, so it basically acts like a very over-seasoned brine.
So it basically it's like a brine, but it's just like a seasoned brine.
Yep. It's just like a very low solution, so it's not going to make it salty. You're not going to like cure it, but it's just going to help the meat retain moisture during cooking, and you're just going to get a way different result by the time you're done cooking it. You can do the same with chickens, or if you're doing like a ham roast or something like that.
Turkeys, a lot of people do it for turkeys.
Oh yeah, totally, and, totally.
It's probably another very popular time to brine.
Yeah. Because like if you wanted to, you can like fully submerge it in brine as well and just let it sit for like a day. Mm-hmm. But like with whole pigs like this, it just gets kind of finicky. So you don't need like a super needle like we got. You could just use a regular syringe as well.
Yeah. And then I usually get underneath the shoulders here because this is where a lot of the meat is on these guys. There's not really much meat on these little guys, but the flavor and the taste and everything all makes up for that.
Yeah.
And so I just kind of get it under here underneath the arm. I hit the bone close, and then I give them a little squirt.
I like squirting pigs.
Yeah.
It's like deodorant.
Yes, it's going to smell good.
Awesome.
Yep.
It's just pumped to get on the grill. So we're going to add some more of the... Yeah, it's so exciting.
That was a good one.
So we're going to add some more seasoning on the skin side.
Yep.
And on this side, since we want the skin to get super nice and crispy, we just got to just really rub it in there. Pretend it's like a full-on like Swedish massage going on type thing.
There you go.
Just without the hot rocks and all that stuff.
Yep. Then he's hairless too, so
yeah. Because like you want to get the skin massaged so it kind of lets go of the meat a little bit. So it'll just help it crisp up real nice.
Yep.
So
see how nice and flat he is. He's gonna look real flat when he's done too. So.
Oh yeah.
And then if you want, depending on how you cook it, we're going to cook them in this little special contraption that we have here. But if you want, you can always, if you're worried about parts burning before other parts, you can always cover them with foil, like the ears, for instance, if you want.
Yep.
You can always cover them with foil and then finish those last if you're worried about that.
If you have like a big rotisserie spit, just throw it on there. Just kind of sew it back together and just let it spin, and it would be like amazing and a half at least.
At least.
At least. And we're back here again. We're having a pig-tastic day.
We are.
And our pig went away, but we got this rack. This is pretty sweet.
So we're going to have to put something on it.
So the way we're going to cook this pig, it's not a super common way, but it's a fantastic way. You can certainly use it for other things than whole pigs as well, but for whole pigs, it's like truly magical with a cherry on top and maybe even some whipped cream on it.
Yeah, it's excellent for smaller pigs.
Oh.
Like probably 100 pounds or less, I would say.
Yep.
And then very efficient way of
super efficient. Okay, so we got our little rack. So we're just going to grab our little buddy down here.
Yep.
So basically, the pig is going to be squished between two racks. Squished is kind of harsh word to use, but
we're going to place him.
It's going to be he's going to be placed, gently placed, in between two racks like that.
Yep. So now you see the reasoning for us flattening him out here.
Yep.
Oh, he bit me.
Oh,
seriously.
That bugger. That bugger.
All right.
I think we'll get our revenge, though.
Yes.
So then we'll strap him out. And if it's not laying on there perfect right now, that's no big deal.
Nope.
So we just lay him on there. And then we got an identical rack. So they got feet like this. So make sure the feet are facing away from the pig. So these ones are standing like that. The other ones will be on there just like that.
Yep.
So then we got these S hooks that are basically just going to go around the side and just attach these frames together. Basically, you're just gonna hold the pig in there.
Yep.
Just like that. So it looks like this very, very weird contraption, but the reasoning that we do this is because like you want to be able to rotate the pig during cooking.
Yep.
But we're going to cook it in the box, basically. So you want to still be able to...
We want to be able to flip him, basically is what we're going to do.
Because you want to get crispy skin and all that deliciousness.
Yeah, pretty cool little gadget. I mean, if you can see, there's nothing crazy about having to tie him up and all that stuff.
Yeah. And this is just very, very clean approach to doing it and very, very, very safe.
Yep, look at that. Like, you can just pick him up, one person can.
Yep. Oh, this one I think jumped off a little bit.
Yep,
so, like, depending on how, like, since this is a pretty small pig, like this one's only like 20-some pounds, you might be using different size S hooks. Like, either get a huge long one like this for bigger pigs, or just use smaller ones, just to be able to get enough pressure on it to hold it in place.
And you can probably just go to your local hardware store, just to get different S hooks.
Yep, as long as they're stainless steel, they're all good.
Fine.
Yeah. Because, like, if these ones were too loose and we try to flip it, because it's going to lose, once you start cooking, it's going to run out some weight and moisture and stuff like that. And if you try and flip it, it might just slide straight out of there. So you want it on there pretty tight. So basically, like, once this one starts cooking and it's kind of well on the way, we'll be able to just...
Flip him over this way?
Flip him right over.
And he's still on a rack there, so he's still off of the bottom of the box.
Yep.
And so that way he still gets airflow all the way through to continue cooking.
And it'll help push it out and keep it out, so it'll cook super nice and even all the way through.
Yep. And we like to start, we usually start with the inside up.
Yep.
And so we usually do, we did about an hour or so.
Yeah, it depends on the size of the pig.
Yeah,
like
it definitely does that.
Hour to hour and a half, depending on. Depends, like, how much charcoal you're adding and stuff like that. Using a thermometer is kind of
That's
safe
the best
as
thing
bed. But it depending on, like, how long the pig has been tempering, like, is it a room temp or is it coming straight out of the fridge? Like, it's a lot of variables at play, so you just gotta judge it.
And it is very easy to check. I mean, you literally just lift the box up and you can put a thermometer in there. So it's not like you have to stop the spit or anything like that and get crazy. And it's very easy to check.
Like, every time you open the lid, it's going to kind of slow it. Like, it's going to take a lot of
it will do that, though.
The air build up in there, like the hot air. So it's going to slow it down a bit, but it quickly recuperates. So, because like the barbecue people say, like, if you're looking, you're not cooking.
That's right. That's true.
Yeah. So
you're letting the heat out.
Yeah. But so this one's basically ready to go onto the grill. So the grill we're going to be using is called China box. So it's just a plywood box, much like this random little box I got sitting behind me, that's lined with aluminum. So basically we're going to be cooking the entire meat just from one side. You're just going to be putting charcoal on top, and you're just going to radiate. And then the aluminum is just going to be bouncing that heat back and forth. And that makes what makes it so expedient cooking as well. Like, it's basically like a ginormous, not electric microwave with charcoal on top.
It is. It cooks like more with definitely radiant heat.
Yeah.
And that's so if you look in the box, it's nice and shiny in there.
Yeah.
And it's extremely efficient. Surprisingly, I think we were very surprised.
It was like full on baffling.
Yeah, it was. It did an excellent job.
Yeah, it was awesome. So we can lower this little puppy in.
Okay.
So we're basically going to cook it belly side up for, let's say, an hour, hour and a half.
Yep.
And then we're going to take the lid off and then we're going to flip it. And then we're going to let it run with the skin side up for about half hour, 45 minutes, kind of depending on your amount of coals and stuff like that, just to get the skin super, super nice and crispy. Because that's kind of the most important thing about this whole ordeal, that is just extremely, extremely crispy. Like, you want to be able to chip a tooth on it, kind of.
Yep.
So we can lift this grate on there. All right. So this is basically where all the heat is going to be coming from.
That's right. We actually, as opposed to putting the charcoal on the bottom, we're going to put the charcoal on the top.
Yep. So basically this lid fits snug in there, and it'll seal all the heat in. Then we got 2 chimneys of charcoal that we got started up.
So about About 16 pounds is what they recommend for the first initial amount of charcoal, about 16 pounds. And then every hour after that, depending on how long you cook, they recommend about, 8 pounds after that?
Yep. So you just want to spread it out nice and even.
And you'll be surprised at how much heat this thing kicks off. Like, you can just totally feel it already just kind of radiating.
But, like, you can be grilling, like, making s'mores and stuff over it.
Oh,
like,
yeah. You can still grill stuff. Matter of fact, I do believe it comes with another grate you can get. And you can basically cook hot dogs and hamburgers and grilled chicken and all that stuff over it. And then you can leave that pig in there for the night grand finale. So you can have lunch earlier, and then you can wait for that pig to be out later on, and you can have that for dinner.
So as you keep refreshing it, it's going to get some ash buildup over time. So, like, eventually you got to kind of shake it off a little bit to kind of keep the heat going. If it builds up too much ash, you might have to empty out, because this is 2 pans, basically.
Yep, so we have one with just that, and then we can just empty the bottom one, which is very simple. All we do is just pour it out, and then you can...
You can just brush it to the side, and that will keep the heat going for quite some time. But this one's just going to sit in there for an hour and a half, 2 hours. Yep. You'll temp it out about, like, 145, 150, because since you got so much bone in it, even if you take it out, it's going to keep continuing cooking for quite a while. So we'll pull it about there. Then we're going to crisp up the skin and all that fun stuff too. Basically, when that thing comes out of there, it's going to look magic.
So here we have a finished product here. Look at that guy.
That's just pretty. That's just real pretty.
And this took about 2 hours.
Yep.
Right? Is that correct?
Yep.
2 hours and about 2 bags of charcoal. Two 15-pound bags of charcoal?
Yep.
So really very efficient, don't you think?
Totally. And like half of that charcoal was on the first application.
Yep.
And then everything else was just kind of replenishing with 8-pound batches.
So a half a bag and then another half a bag.
Yep.
And so that was it?
So like it burns through charcoal a lot faster than like a smoker would or something like that.
Sure.
But like you get a lot higher heat, a lot more radiant heat than you would get on the smoker. But the smoker, you want to keep it down to like 200, 250.
Right, real low.
This one was piping.
And you can see, like, so this thing's like, you can hear it. It's just, it's cracking.
Like, just take the side of a knife.
Nice and crispy.
Yeah. Like, you want it to kind of start bubbling. Because the skin is, like, the most magic part of all.
Oh, for sure.
Oh, it's so good.
So when we pull this out, I think Chef, we usually like to tip it at one of the thickest parts of the meat here.
Yep. So what we usually do is just usually use the hams. Just go in alongside the bone, but you don't want to be touching the bone. You just want to go alongside the
femur there?
Yeah, the femur bone. And then temp it there, because that's the thickest parts. It's the same as when you're temping like a turkey or a chicken or whatever.
Right.
Like you always temp it like in the thigh. You got the most amount of bone, you got the most amount of meat. It's the kind of thickest muscle, so it just takes longer to cook. So that's because if you start checking in the loins, like the loins are going to be done way before the leg is. So I just want to get in there, and you'll be able to tell like the meat's going to start pulling and stuff like that. Because what we did when we flipped this one, once we flipped it and went skin side up, we used a knife and went over and scored in all those little spots. That's just going to help, because the skin is going to contract a little bit, and that just kind of helps the skin just get super nice and crispy. And
starts to render, kind of renders a little bit, and then it'll help from cracks. Sometimes it'll just pressure cracks, will just crack, and then they kind of get cracked in weird ways. So you can always just score it. And you only made about 6, 7, 8 scores. Just around here, around the larger muscles for shoulder where it's going to crack.
Because
around the back.
Because like on those racks, you got those big squares.
Oh, right there. There you go.
In each square, make a cross.
That's it.
And just thin enough to get through the skin. You don't have to get deep into the meat at all.
Awesome.
Just a little cutting. Okay, so I'm going to try and cut into this puppy and see what it looks like.
Sure. So we can tell it's definitely done, because even if we were pulling on some of the limbs here, we noticed that it would probably just come right off very easily.
Yeah.
Which is an excellent thing. So like obviously when you're serving this, you want to serve probably everybody a little bit of everything. Some people might want some belly, and then also a little bit of, this is the pork butt, which is over here, the shoulders, and then you also have the ham in the back. So I like to usually serve a little bit of everything. So what I normally do is I'll just go right down the back here. And so we have a loin, but the thing is you got to remember about this little pig here is that it doesn't have a large loin like a normal, like a larger pig would, which would be like the chops and that sort of thing that we normally serve.
this will be closer to like a regular sized tenderloin, or if not even smaller.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And so I'll just cut around here also. I'll pull this guy off and look at that. Look how tender it is.
Beautiful. You can see that marinade still sitting around that bone. Oh, that's gorgeous.
Yep, so you can see all that little bit where that green is, where that marinade is, where they shot it up right around here. It's really nice and juicy. You can see all that right there, and from being pumped. And so you'll right below here, you're gonna have the ribs. So if you like, you can always cut off here.
Beautiful. Because this one rested about 30 minutes before we started cutting into it.
Yep.
Kind of letting the juices settle and making it nice and delicious.
And the other thing is there's not much belly on this, so you got to be because this is a much smaller pig, so it didn't get a chance to form all that fat.
Yeah.
And so this is basically you always serve a little bit of this to everybody, just kind of along with the part of the.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Yep. So you'll see this is nice and crispy here. Look at all that. Not very many fat layers though, like you would see on normal bacon.
I think everything that's to follow right now is not suitable for television.
Yes.
Because I'm gonna go like face into this thing. I'm gonna start making out with it real soon. Awesome. All right, I'm so excited. Thank you, Mike, for dancing around and grilling with us today. Like I just got to start eating this. Like I just want to wait. Gotta. Be sure to check out the recipe for the rubs and the marinade and all that stuff we did. I think there's some pictures of Mike on there dancing around with pigs and stuff.
Yes.
I know there's a couple of me, so yeah. So thank you guys for watching. Thank you, Mike.
Hey, thanks for having me again.
Thank you, Pig, for being nice and feeding all our bellies.
Yes, thank you.
Be sure to watch for future episodes, and you guys keep cooking.
Yep, see ya.